The champagne glass in my hand was warm. My parents' voices cut through the room. "To the real breadwinner and a wonderful daughter-in-law!" Applause, laughter, cameras flashing. I didn't clap. She stood in the center of the living room, soaking in their adoration. Perfect smile. Perfect lies. An hour later, when the guests were gone, she tossed a folded t-shirt at me. "The loser of the house," it read, bold letters across the chest. Her smirk burned more than the words. I said nothing. She mistook that for defeat. We'd been married 6 years. When we started, she believed in me. Or at least, I thought she did. I left my job to launch my own consultancy, knowing it would take time to grow. She had a stable corporate position, and for a while, she was patient, supportive. But success came slower than we planned. I worked nights, weekends. She worked on her attitude. The warmth disappeared first, then the respect. Finally, the love. She started reminding me she paid the bills. Started making jokes in front of friends. "He's still chasing that big break," she'd laugh, as if I wasn't in the room. I told myself to ignore it. That pride was fragile and words didn't kill. But humiliation? Humiliation burrows in and sharpens into something else. The turning point came 3 months before her party. I found her phone face up on the couch, a text thread open. Her and her boss. Her boss. It wasn't the first message that gutted me. It was the last one I read before I locked the screen. "When he finally gives up on his dream, maybe he'll make a decent house husband." She replied with a laughing emoji. I didn't confront her, not yet. That night, while she slept, I started a different kind of work. First step, information. I made friends with an IT guy at her company. Casual drinks, casual questions. He didn't know he was handing me a blueprint. From him, I learned about a major internal audit scheduled for the next quarter, and about her involvement in certain creative expense reports. Second step, evidence. I installed a discrete keylogger on her laptop, no harder than changing the Wi-Fi password. Emails, spreadsheets, chat logs, they trickled in like a gold vein widening every day. Third step, positioning. I called an old friend, a corporate lawyer who owed me a favor. We discussed contingencies. By the end of the week, my personal accounts were clean, my consultancy was contracted for an unrelated but lucrative project, and my apartment lease, yes, my apartment, was secured in my name only. I became a ghost in my own house, collecting threads. Her promotion party was my perfect stage. She organized it herself, paid for it herself, and invited all the right people, her colleagues, her parents, mine. I played the dutiful husband, silent in her spotlight. The loser t-shirt was her final act of arrogance. The next morning, she left for work, humming. I waited. An hour later, her boss called her into his office. The packet I'd sent to HR had landed that morning. Documents, receipts, flagged expense reports, emails with her very creative interpretations of company policy. I'd attached a short, anonymous note. "You might want to verify these before the auditors do." I knew the moment she saw it. My phone lit up. One message, then 10, then 50. By the time it hit 99, I'd muted her. At noon, I walked into her office building, not to see her, but to see the glass conference room where she sat, flanked by 2 HR reps and her boss. She spotted me through the glass. Her eyes widened. She mouthed my name. I kept walking. That evening, she came home early, voice trembling with fury. "You did this to me!" "No," I said. "You did this to yourself." I slid an envelope across the table. Divorce papers, already signed on my end. Inside was also a printed copy of that text she'd sent her boss. Her hands shook. "You can't just walk away." "I already have." The fallout was swift. She was suspended pending investigation. Word got around in her industry, quietly, as these things do, that she wasn't a safe hire. Her so-called friends vanished. My parents? They learned everything. The next time they saw her, they didn't toast. She called me weeks later, wanted to talk. I let it ring. Do I feel bad? No. I spent years building something she couldn't see. She spent years tearing it down. In the end, she taught me the difference between losing and letting go. I walked out of that marriage with my dignity intact and my business thriving. She walked out with a record HR will never forget. Some call it revenge. I call it balance. Justice isn't loud. It's patient.